Hello guys, this is your friend. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if the exiled Naruto Konoichi returns with a waifu I part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start a new fanfic. On top of the Hokage monument, sat a lone young man who was looking off into the night sky. Sitting on the head of the fourth Hokage, Naruto sat deep in thought. Naruto about Yumi, and what he said to her. Realizing what he said to her, he sighed. He also was aware of the fact that the council and everyone else in the village were going to hate what he did to their precious Sasuke-kun. No matter what he did for Konoha, he would always be seen as the demon. His thoughts also flashed back to his dream to become, or rather his former dream. He clenched his dirt-smudged fist. Everything he ever tried to work for, Sasuke seemed to get without trying. He hated to admit to himself, but he was jealous of Sasuke. His thought drifted to when he first met Konohamaru. He remembered what he told the boy all those years ago. He remembered looking at Sandame's grandson in the eyes and saying, "T no shortcuts." Oh, how true that was. For all the strength that he possesses, he had to work hard to obtain it. Sasuke had the Sharingan and could copy everything. He himself, on the other hand, trained his body to the. Maybe that's why Kakashi trained Sasuke instead. He didn't really have to teach, Naruto wondered. I knew you would be up here. The perverted hermit spoke, breaking his concentration. Naruto looked up to see his sensei giving him a warm smile. What do you want, Ero Sennin? The blonde questioned. He was now looking at his sensei with a look that gave off no emotion. To see how you were doing. Jiraiya answered. Jiraiya may not have been able to see the emotion on Naruto's face, but he knew that if he was on the monument, then he was one of the few places that Naruto went when he was sad. Jiraiya knew this after watching Naruto a few times. Naruto, you can't lie to me. I know you're probably a bit angry, but what you said to Sakura and Kakashi was wrong. Naruto's eyes showed fury. He thought he was coming up here to talk to him about anything, but never did he think it was about his treatment to those two. If he had said Yum would not have gotten angry, but to say those two and expect him not to feel what he felt was absurd to him. Just when I thought you were here to talk to me about Yumi or something else, you bring up Kakashi and Haruno. Every time I speak how I feel, it's a problem, but others can me any way they feel and get away with it. Tough luck. If I hurt anyone's feelings, I don't give a crap. Naruto spat out in anger-filled tone. Jiraiya spoke, so you don't care if you hurt Yumi? Naruto's anger died down immediately. Naruto knew he was wrong for yelling at her, but he was just mad. Jiraiya just gave sigh. Look, Naruto, I'm not here to tell you to apologize to anyone, that decision is solely on you. But I will say this, grow up, Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened at what his teacher said, and then they narrowed just as quickly as they widened. Grow up. I grew up as soon as the woman I saw as the only mother I kicked me out of the village. I grew up when the girl I gave my all to please, saw me as nothing more than an annoyance. I grew up when my friend shoved a Chidori through. I grew up when my sensei refused to train me to train another student. I grew up when the day my dream was killed. I grew when I finally realized that no matter what I did, Foe Village they would always see as nothing more than the demon that destroyed their families. Now you stand here and tell me to grow up. I've grown up, so don't stand there as something like that to me. Jiraiya's eyes never broke contact with his student. Naruto, you have grown up into a strong, brave, and decent human being. I never doubted that you have grown up, but you've grown up enough to put the past behind you. Naruto's eyes fixed on the ground. Why should I put the past behind me? The past is a part of who I am. He pointed to the village. They can't seem to put the past behind. Why should I? Naruto looked at Jiraiya, searching for the answer as if it was in the hermit's eyes. Jiraiya placed a hand on his student's shoulder, then smiled, because Naruto, you're better than them. I've watched you grow from an annoying, overconfident, loud-mouthed young man. A young man that I'm proud of. Naruto smiled. He always thought of Jiraiya as a grandfather. So for him to say that he was proud of him made the blonde boy feel happy. Naruto's smile quickly turned into a loose sadness. I'm glad that you're proud of me, but how do I put the past behind me when it hurts so much? He just shrugged his shoulders. Honestly, I don't know, Naruto. However, I do know that hate will not change anything. Naruto, the past is the past, so don't let it hurt you. Look the future now. You have Yumi now. Doesn't the future look better than the past? Also, you proved to everyone one is this village who called you a monster and a dead last row beat their Uchiha, and when you did get strong enough you didn't take out your aggressions on them. So I know you could leave the past in the past. That's why you are better them. Naruto looked towards the stars in the sky. He was contemplating on everything that Jiraiya had told him. He was right. Naruto didn't grow up enough to put the past behind. He had Yumi, and that was a gift from God in his eyes. He knew that his future no longer lied in Konoha, but he did have a few people here that cared for him. That was enough. Made a resolution to just let it go. Everything would start off with a clean slate, as far as Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke was concerned. He would no longer hold grudges because better than that. He looked back at Jiraiya. You're right, Arrow Sennin, I am better than them. I will put the past behind me. From this day forward, I will start with a new slate with everyone. Sack Kakashi, and Sasuke, even Oba-chan. I won't hold a grudge, because in the end it was I who turned out for the better. I given my word and I never go back on my word, because my Nindo. Thanks Arrow Sennin for making me see what I should have seen all along. Who would have thought a perverted old man could be so wise? Well, I do have my moments. Anyway, I think you should go talk to Tsunade. He dropped the smile and gave Naruto a look to illustrate his seriousness. You should know that want to banish you. I know she didn't want to, but it just hurt. I know she has obligations as Hokage, but I just wished she was there for me. The council was against me from day one. They saw a chance to get rid of me and they did. Naruto said. Jiraiya continued looking into his student's eyes. Naruto, be careful. The council is against you. Even though the Hokage has the most power, her power is not absolute. If ever the council comes together, then they can overthrow even her rule. They will band together and try to send you on suicide missions. So Naruto, be careful. Naruto took it all in. You're probably right. It did seem that everyone was against me in that meeting besides Oba-chan. I know they probably are trying to kill two birds with they're hoping that I can help end this war and die in the process. Well, I'm going to take everything that they will and can throw at me. Jiraiya smiled at his student's comments. He knew how the council members hated Naruto. He knew that as soon as they get the chance they would send him into a suicide mission, least it would be for anyone else. They're going to be disappointed when he completes every mission that they throw at him. He broke free from his train of thought. Naruto, getting late, maybe you should go to your hotel room. Browse just in community forum betas story search anime, manga, anime, Naruto, plus Naruto nodded in agreement. I probably should, Yumi is going to be worried sick. I just hope she didn't tell my san, the last thing I need is her screaming at me. So Arrow-sen, are you going? Jiraiya gave his student a cheesy smile. I'm going to continue my research. I'll see you before you leave for your mission tomorrow. Later. Naruto frowned at his sensei's actions. Perverted hermit, going to a whorehouse isn't research, it's just you getting pleasure. Naruto shook his head at the thought of Jiraiya, some poor lady. He then headed back to the town below. Before he went to the hotel, he had to do something else. Uchiha District. Naruto had walked in the Uchiha District. When he was young, he remembers it being full of life. As it stands today, it is nothing more than an eerie ghost town. Naruto walked house that housed the only member of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke was sitting in his living room with Kakashi and Sakura. Sakura followed Kakashi to make sure that Sasuke was okay. Sasuke on the other hand was deep in thought. He fathomed that Naruto had beaten him. Not only that, but Naruto had rendered Tsukiyomi useless. Just how strong are you, Naruto? This question ran through Sasuke's head until the door broke his concentration. Sasuke went to answer the door. He was surprised at who was standing before him. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Can I come in? We need to talk. Sasuke thought about it for a minute. Should he let him in or should he just slam the door in his face? Sasuke decided to let Naruto in. Naruto entered the house to see Sakura Kakashi standing in the living room. Kakashi and Sakura looked at Naruto, clearly curious as to why he was there. Naruto decided to speak. Great, you're all here. I won't have to track you two down. Kakashi wondered what Naruto wanted. Naruto, do you wish to say something that we all should hear? He shook his head. Yes. He took a deep breath before continuing. I'm just here to say that I'm sorry. Kakashi, I didn't mean what I said to you. Well, I did, but I'm sorry. Abu then looked at Sakura. Look, Sakura, I know what I said was wrong and maybe I shouldn't have said it, but I only said it because I was angry. I don't wish death on no one and wrong to wish it on you. Sakura smiled a genuine smile. She then walked up to the taller blonde. Naruto, it is I who should be apologizing to you. You were right about saying that I wasn't a good friend. You did more than I could ask any friend to do. What I said all those years was wrong and I truly am sorry. Please forgive me. Naruto looked at Sakura. Sakura, I forgive but I will never forget. He looked at Kakashi, then Sasuke before placing his eyes back on Sakura. Although I may never forget, doesn't mean we can't start fresh. From this day forth we're going to wipe the slate clean. What do you say? Tears slid down the pink Kunoichi eyes. She immediately rushed and hugged Naruto. Naruto, I don't know why you're doing this when you have every right to hate me, but that I will try to be a good friend. Sakura let Naruto go to wipe her eye dry. Naruto then turned to Sasuke. I hope we can put the past behind us, Sasuke. Sasuke, who was leaning on the wall by the door, nodded. Sure, I guess we could do that. Naruto then turned to Kakashi. Is this okay with you? The copy nin smiled behind his mask. Sure, Naruto, it sounds perfect. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Well, I better head back to the hotel. We have a mission tomorrow and I'm getting tired. Sasuke opened the door as Naruto walked towards to head hotel. When Naruto was at the end of the walkway, Sakura screamed out, Naruto! Exclamation mark, quote. Sakura yelled. He turned to look at her. She was smiling at the blonde ninja. Thank you. Gave her a slight nod, then continued to the hotel. Ero Sennin was right. No need to hold grudges because I am better than that. Naruto arrived at the hotel 10 minutes later. Naruto was walking to his room when he saw Jiraiya coming out of Mai's room. Jiraiya turned to see Naruto and let out a breath in. What are you doing here, Ero Sennin? I was talking to Mai. Jiraiya responded nervously. Well, you better hope that Yumi doesn't find out that you're asking her mother for advice on your book. I would hate see what she would do you. Jiraiya was shocked. How did you know about that? Naruto snorted. I have ears, you know. When you visited last time I heard her offer to give you pointers. Yumi doesn't know that her mother is a pervert just like you. I won't because it would devastate her. Anyway, I didn't see you and this little talk never happened, so good night. Naruto walked past Jiraiya and headed straight for his room. Jiraiya scratched his head. He didn't think about it too much. Phase 1 of his information gathering was done. Now it was time to start Phase 2, which involved liquor, lipstick. Waking up the next day rather happy. He exited to the hotel seeking what he dubbed his inspiration. Naruto entered the room. Yumi was laying on the bed with her back towards the door. He decided to slip out of his clothes and jump in the shower. 10 minutes later he exited in his blue boxers and his white A shirt. He decided to slip into bed without waking Yumi. Naruto slipped under the covers. He then placed his arm around Yumi. I know you're not asleep, Yumi-chan. I just want to apologize for what I said to you. If I hurt your feelings, it was not my intention. I love you too much to ever hurt you. He whispered words into her ear. Naruto got no response. He didn't expect one. After all, he did call her in. Naruto put his hands behind his head and just looked at the ceiling. He felt an wrap around his waist and a head rest on his chest. Let's just get some sleep, Naruto-kun. It has been a very long day. He smiled at his girlfriend before they both drifted into dreams. The sunlight cast itself onto the eyes of the female with brown hair. Yumi brought her hands forth to shield her eyes from the brightness of the sun. She opened her eyes slowly to her surroundings. She rolled over to place her arm around Naruto, only to find that he was not there. The focus in her eyes became clear. She could now see that the blonde W longer by her side. She saw him sitting in a chair a couple of feet away. He was fully dressed in a black jacket with orange lining, and matching pants. As he was slipping his feet, he looked at Yumi and smiled. Good morning, sleepyhead, he said in a playful tone to the girl on the bed. She sat up and looked at him. Good morning, Naruto, leaving so soon? Yes, I have to be at the Hokage Tower in 20 minutes. Oba-chan is going to give us our mission today. I don't know what type of mission it is or how long I'm going to be gone, informed the girl. She got out of the bed and walked up to him and sat in his lap. I hope you're not gone for too long. She kissed him on the cheek, then got off of his lap. Well, I'm going to talk shower. You should probably get going. You don't want to be late. It gives people a bad impression, you know. Naruto stood up. Yes, I know. Well, Yumi, I'm off, I'll see you. Naruto walked to the door, but before could open it to leave, he heard Yumi speak, Naruto. Quote. He turned to face his girl. Yes. She walked up and kissed him on the lips. Be careful, okay? He gave her one of his infamous grins. Don't worry, I'll be fine. He exited the hotel room, leaving Yumi behind. Yumi, who was still in her white pajama pants and sky blue tank top, proceeded to the bathroom to freshen up. Hokage Tower. 20 minutes later, Naruto walked into Tsunade's office with no time to spare. He looked around, and from what he could see, everyone who was assigned to this mission was there. Everyone was the standard Chunin and Junin uniform. Tsunade looked at Naruto, who finally landed his eyes on her. Glad you could join us, Naruto. Now that you're here, I will go over the mission briefing. This mission is an A- rank mission with the possibility of turning into an S-class mission. Mission is to infiltrate a cloud ninja outpost on the outskirts of Lighting Country. You are to recover a blueprint layout to a ninja base in Lighting Country. Naruto spoke first. What is so important in the ninja base that would force you to assign a mission to recover two blueprints for it? The fifth leaned back in her chair. In one of our previous missions, we obtained a prisoner from the cloud. After being tortured by Ibiki, he gave us some info, but not entirely. I had Yamanaka Ino search his memories, and she discovered that the base had battle plans that they intended to use on us. Ino also discovered that the blueprint to this base located where I previously stated. Do you understand why this mission is so vital? Naruto shook his head. Yes. Tsunade spoke. Good. Sasuke will be acting as team leader for this mission, Sakura you will be head medic, and Udon will be lead strategist. If there is nothing else, then Yuji dismissed. Naruto looked directly into the Hokage's eyes and spoke. There is something that I wish to request. Tsunade eyed him suspiciously. What is your request? I request that you make me squad leader on this mission. Naruto stated his request, which shocked everyone. Sasuke glared at Naruto. In his mind, Naruto was questioning his leadership and he didn't like it. He was an Anbu captain, and his team was by far the most successful Anbu SQU Leaf with a 0 casualty rate. By Naruto asking to lead this mission made him furious. Hokage-sama, I am more than capable of leading this squad. My mission success rate P fact. Sasuke spoke in a tone that hid his anger. Naruto looked at Sasuke. I wasn't question if you were capable or not, I just thought that I would be the best option for this particular mission. Hanabi decided to speak. Why? Because you beat Sasuke-sama. Just because you won that little fight, doesn't mean you're qualified to lead. Naruto turned to the person who spoke. That's not it. I'm sure Sasuke could lead this mission perfectly, but my connections in Lighting Country are well suited for this mission. Tsunade was deep in thought. Naruto did have a point, he probably was fit to lead, but she didn't know how well it would go over with everyone else. Thinking it over for a while, finally came to a decision. First, I would like to ask everyone here who they think should be leader. Based on your votes, I will select the leader for this mission. Hanabi quickly responded, I elect Sasuke-sama. Udon was next to respond, Sasuke. Konohamaru followed, Naruto. Hinata spoke a soft voice, Naruto-kun. Sakura was the last to respond. She looked at both Naruto and Sasuke, then back to Tsunade, I choose Sasuke. Naruto just shook his head, then looked at Tsunade. Fine, I thought that it would be best since I have been to Cloud a number of times on missions, but if this is the decision, comply. Tsunade spoke once more, okay, you have your mission. You are to meet up at the gate at noon and head out. Dismissed. Naruto was heading out, then he heard the Hokages. Naruto, wait, I want you to stay. The blonde stopped and turned to face the fifth. He walked up to her desk. What do you want? She leaned forward with her chin resting on the back of her hands. Are you mad that Sasuke is leading this mission, number? Was his only response. She looked at him again to read his emotions. The old Naruto would have been mad that Sasuke was leading, but this Naruto wasn't. She wondered, Naruto, you have to under that they trust Sasuke, so that's why majority thought he would be best to lead this mission. Naruto gave her shrug, whatever, I don't really care. You're paying me to do a job, so that's what I will do. I thought it would be beneficial that I lead because I know the Geog terrain and I also have a spy network. Anyway, I will do what Sasuke requires of me. No more, no less. Tsunade shook her head, pleased with his statement. Good, I just wanted to clear that up because the mission's success is vital. Naruto headed to the exit. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm going back to the hotel. Later, Oba-chan. Tsunade's eyes widened in shock as he exited her office. A smile formed on her face and a tear slid down her cheek. He called me Oba-chan. Naruto, you may not officially be of this mission, but it will be you who will lead them to success. Naruto went back to the hotel. He entered his room to find Yumi and her mother sitting on the bed talking. Naruto smiled. Hey, how is everything? The brown hair woman smiled. Pretty good. Yumi was telling me about you beating up some guy yesterday. She also told me you had a mission. I thought you weren't coming today. Well, my san, I do have a mission, but I don't have to leave until noon. I have 2 hours to prepare for my mission and get everything I need. Since I have all of my equipment, 2 hours to blow. He answered his girlfriend's mother. Oh, okay. We're waiting for Ino. She promised to show me more of the village. Yumi is coming with us since you're going on a mission. Mai explained. Yumi looked at Naruto. Mother convinced me to tag along, so I decided to do so. I'm sure you're going to have a good time. Soon as Naruto finished his words, there was a knock at the door. Naruto opened the door to find it was Ino. Hey Ino, how is Everett? It's good. How are you doing? Ino asked. Fine. Well, I guess I should get out of here and let you girls enjoy your day. Later, Ino, I'm sorry about holding that kunai to your neck. Naruto stated before he ran off. Ino looked at Mai and Yumi. So you girls ready to go? Yes, Ino, I think we're ready. Mai responded. Let's go. I'm off for a week and I plan on enjoying myself. The life of a ninja is hard, you know. The blonde Kunoichi stated. Mai gave a slight laugh. I suppose. Well, let's go so we can have some fun. Besides, I promised Jiraiya-san that I would meet up with him to discuss some matters. Yumi wondered what her mother had to talk to pervert about. What do you have to discuss with Jiraiya, mom? Mai didn't want to let her daughter know what was happening, so she decided to bend the truth a little. I'm not sure, but he said he needs my advice on something, although I clueless to what that might be. Yumi looked at her mother sideways. She didn't buy that for a second, that lie for a second. Unknowing to her mother, Naruto, and Jiraiya, Yumi knew that her mother was helping write his dirty novel. When Jiraiya visited them for a week, she remembered waking up late to go to the bathroom. While going to the restroom, she heard her mother and Jira discussing his book. She was giving him suggestions on what should be in the book and what should be omitted. I can't believe that my mother is giving Ero Sennin some ideas to write that smut. Well, the book isn't all that bad. It did reveal some positions that I performed on Naruto that's satisfactory. Blah. What the hell am I thinking? That book is smut, plain and simple. Naruto probably knows and doesn't want to tell me. Fine, I'll play stupid. Yumi thought. Just watch yourself around him, Mom, he's a pervert. She warned her mother. Don't worry, Yumi. I'm a big girl, I'll be okay. Mai assured her daughter. With that being said, the ladies were off to tour the town. Hyuga compound. Hinata was packing some clothes and extra tools for her little expedition. She looked over her stuff to see if she had everything. Once she saw that she had everything she need, placed her backpack on her back and decided to head the ramen stand to grab a quick meal before she left for the mission. While she entered the courtyard, she saw her fat sister talking. Her father was alerted of her presence and signaled for her to join them. She became nervous as she got closer and could the look on her father's face. Father, is there something that you wish to talk to me about? He looked at her with disgust. I heard about your mission from Hanabi, don't screw this up. She looked down. Yes, father, I will do my best to not be a burden. All you ever do is try and fail miserably. Just don't screw this mission up. What's this I hear you wanting that delinquent as the leader of this mission? Your sister said you versus him instead of Sasuke. What is the meaning of this? He stared at her, waiting for an answer. Father, Naruto-kun knows the geographical layout of Lighting Country. I thought we would benefit from his vast knowledge if he was to take lead, that's all. Replied the pale Heihachi. Still eyed his eldest daughter with disgust. Like I said before, don't fail the mission. You should be a Junin now, but you're still a Chunin. In my eyes you are pathetic. You should be more like Hanabi. She'll probably become a Junin on the next exam and surpass you once again. Sometimes I wish she was the oldest. Hinata wanted to cry, but she told herself not to. Her father had always favored Hanabi over her. Why couldn't he see the things that she was good at? She might not be the best, but she was gifted with making medicine. She also was kind, caring, and selfless, but none of those qualities mattered to her father. Sometimes she wished she wasn't a Hyuga, then life would have been better. She cleared her thoughts and did what she normally did in this situation. I'm sorry for being weak, father. I will try my best to become as strong as Hanabi, father. She bowed and headed to the exit. Hanabi bowed to her father and followed suit. The young Hyuga smirked. She was the reason why her father belittled her sister. Hinata deserved it for suggesting that Blonde did the mission. That would show her to side with shinobis that are not of this village. She finally caught up to her sister. Hinata, where are you heading to? Hinata didn't want to speak to Hanabi right now. However, she didn't want to be rude either, so she turned to Hanabi. I was just heading to Ichiraku ramen stand. Do you wish me, sister? Hanabi wore the same expression of disgust that her father had on earlier. I'll pass, I wouldn't be caught dead in that place. It is so beneath a Hyuga. Hinata knew her sister would decline. Most of the main family felt that they were better than everyone, and her sister was no exception. Well, Hanabi, I guess I will see you at noon. Goodbye, sister. Hinata walked off, leaving Hanabi behind. Hanabi was about to take a step but realized that she didn't have anywhere to go. She didn't have any friends because she chose not to associate with people weaker than herself. She looked at Hinata walking away. She made a decision. Hinata, wait up. Exclamation mark quote. At Ichiraku ramen stand, Naruto and Konohamaru were sitting on a stool eating ramen. Bro, don't sweat it. At least we're on a mission together, I wasn't really worrying about that Konohamaru. He leading the mission doesn't affect my abilities. Anyway, why did you vote for me? Konohamaru sucked up the noodles that were hanging out his mouth. Well, you seem like a better fit to be leader. You said you know your way around lighting country, right? Your knowledge is more vast than Sasuke's, so that's why I thought you should lead. Oh, okay, that seems reasonable. Naruto replied. Hinata walked up to the stand. Hello, Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to see Hinata. Hello, Hinata, how are you? After what her father said, how could she be okay? She didn't want him to see that she wasn't, so she gave a fake smile. I'm good. She sat on the stool to the right of Naruto. I see, San, can I please have one miso ramen? He looked at Hinata and smiled. One miso coming up for the pretty young lady. Everyone turned to see who it was calling Hinata. Everyone saw that it was her younger sister. Hanabi finally arrived at the stand. Hinata, didn't you hear me calling you? Sorry, Hanabi, I didn't hear you. Hinata clearly was lying. She chose to ignore Hanabi. Right now she didn't want to be bothered with her sister. Hi, Hanabi-chan. Konohamaru greeted the young Hyuga with a faint blush on his cheeks. She turned to look at who spoke to her, only to see the third's grandson, or, Monkey Boy, as she called him. What do you want, Monkey Boy? Konohamaru looked at the ground. She never was nice to him, no matter how much he tried to be nice to her. Naruto didn't know her long, but he knew he didn't like her. His opinion, with the exception of Neji and Hinata, were stuck-up snobs. Konohamaru, don't waste your energy being nice to people who always look at you like you're dirt, it's not worth it. Besides, you could do much better than that ugly Hyuga. En said this trying to get a rise out of Hanabi, and his plan worked to perfection. Who are you calling ugly, you maggot? I am the heir to the Hyuga, and I'm currently the strongest chunin in the village. How dare you speak ill of me? Naruto stopped eating his ramen and turned to face the Hinata's sister. You don't wish for people to speak ill to you, but yet and still you speak to others in the way that you be spoken. Calling Konohamaru a monkey boy is an insult to him. It is not only an insult to him, but it's an insult to his grandfather who gave his life for you. Unappreciative villa. You calling him monkey is mocking his grandfather's legacy. Now if you were joking with him, then it wouldn't be problem, but you clearly think you're better than him, and that's a problem. She smirked. So what if I think I'm better? It's not as if it isn't true. I'm a genius. He's a pathetic monkey boy. I will always be better than that loser. Naruto shook his head. I hate that word genius. Everyone think that being born with the ability to pick up things quicker than others makes them superior. Neji was a genius, a him. Sasuke was a genius in both Rock Lee, and I beat him. Both of us were dead last in our graduating class. I came across a lot of so-called geniuses, and in the end they all me. You want to know what being a genius means? It means absolutely nothing. The only thing that means anything is hard work. Lee understands, Hinata understands, and Konohamaru understands that hard work will surpass a genius any day. It was luck that you beat Neji and Sasuke. I'm sure you can't beat them again if you tried. Once a loser, always a loser is what I say, was Hanabi's response. Whatever, you pale-eyed freak, I think I just lost my appetite by looking at your ugly face. Sorry, Hinata-chan, but you're the prettiest Hyuga female I know. It's sad because to have taken all of the looks, leaving her with the short end of the stick. Well, I'll catch guys later. Naruto walked away. Hanabi had her fist clenched. How dare he insult my eyes? He insulted me and my family with that statement. No one defiles the name of the Hyuga and insult our bloodline. Does he think he is to insult our legacy? Hanabi's eyes widened at what she was about to say. She realized that it hurt when he called her a pale-eyed freak. She wondered if how Konohamaru felt when she called him monkey boy. Hanabi closed her eyes. She prepared herself for to do what she was about to do. She then opened her eyes, then turned Konohamaru. I'm sorry for calling you monkey boy. Hinata and Konohamaru were shocked that Hanabi had apologized. Konohamaru smiled. Hanabi, would you like to take a walk with me? Number. She turned and walked off, leaving the boy defeated. Hinata touched his shoulder. Don't worry, Konohamaru-kun. I'm sure my sister will like you someday. He looked at Hinata and gave a weak smile. I hope so. I really hope so. 2 hours later, Hyuga Hanabi sat on top of the gate waiting for the rest of team. She was at the very same spot for the last 2 hours thinking about that idiot Naruto, and about Konohamaru. Looking at it from Naruto's perspective, she knew she was wrong for calling him monkey boy. What she didn't understand is after all her insults he still tried to be nice to her. It matters, she was thinking it over too much anyway. Care if I join you, Hyuga-sama? Naruto said mockingly. Hanabi tensed up slightly. How the hell did he sneak up on me? I didn't even sense his presence. If he was an enemy of mine I would be dead right now. She looked at the bee. Whatever you want. Naruto sat down next to her. Sasuke and Sakura are on their way. Konohamaru and Hinata are also on their way, as well as Udon. How do you know this? Can you detect them? She questioned. Actually, I see them walking towards the gate. Naruto stated. A couple of minutes later Sasuke and company arrived at the gate. Hanabi and Naruto jumped down, landing next to the group. Okay everyone, this is my first time working with you, and for others this is not. Those who I worked with know that I'm about being efficient as possible. Our goal is to get the scroll, we are to get in and get out undetected. He looked at her, gaining her attention. This is my first time working with you, but I have worked with Hinata and Neji before. If you're anything like these two then we should be fine. Udon, I've worked with you on a number of occasions, and for those that don't know, all strategy and planning will go through him. If you have a better idea, feel free to let it. Sakura is the medic, so our goal is to make sure she is safe at all times. However, Sakura is capable of handling herself, so don't worry too much. Naruto. Sasuke turned to En. We haven't worked together in a while, so I really don't know what you're capable of besides the Kage Bunshin. All I know is that you and I are the strongest here, so that's sure enough. Naruto was laughing in his head. Leave it to Sasuke to not say that I'm better than him. But you're right. You have no idea what I'm capable because I didn't show that much fight, now did I? Naruto decided to ask Sasuke a question. What is the formation pattern? Sasuke was shocked that Naruto asked this. Well, I was going to have Hinata in the front, Udon directly behind to signal us. Both me and you are going to be at Sakura's sides. I right while you are on her left. We're the most capable to protect the medic, but we're also the most capable to provide support to the others in case of an ambush. Konohamaru directly behind Sakura, and Hanabi will be scanning the back to make sure we're not being followed. Does anyone have any other questions? Everyone shook their heads. The group walked past the gate and took to the trees in no time. They were heading to Lighting Country. Everyone took the formation that Sasuke planned. Naruto looked at the Uchiha. Sasuke, moving at a fast pace. It's going to take us about 3 days to get to Lightning Country, that's with rest stops. I was thinking M could head to a dock in Rice Country northeast of here. From there we could charter a boat that would have us in Lightning Country by tomorrow. Sasuke closed his eyes to think it over. No. Cloud ninjas are all over Rice Country. There is no way we could elude them. We're better off going by foot if we plan on getting in Lightning undetected. We could always disguise ourselves and, Naruto never got to finish his sentence. I said no. Sasuke elevated his voice so Naruto understood his decision was final. It won't work. I'll figure how to get us into Lightning. First we're going to stop at Rice Field v Rice Country and rest for the night. We should arrive there in about 7 hours if we keep up this pace. From there we'll review the map and go with our best feasible option. Naruto narrowed his eyes. The bastard didn't even listen to what I had to say. I could have gotten us in Lightning Country with no problem. My friend owns the docks there, he have gotten us on a freight ship heading there. We could have been there by early morning tomorrow. Oh well, he did say we're stopping to rest in Rice Field Village. I'm sure S-chan and her clan are keeping a close eye on Cloud Ninjas, maybe she could give me information on their movements in Rice Country. 7 hours later, Naruto and company just arrived at their intended destination. They were walking through the busy town. Even at night, when the sun was setting, Rice Field Village was busy people. Sasuke directed everyone to the hotel they were staying at. Sasuke went to talk to the receptionist while everyone wait for him. Sasuke returned to the group. Okay, we're sharing rooms. The girls will be in 305 and the guys will be in 306. I am heading to the room. Udon, I think it's time we take a look at tea to decide our route. Sasuke turned to everyone else. The rest of you guys are free to do whatever. Try to keep a low profile. Also, we're leaving here at 5 a.m. sharp. So keep th if any of you plan on staying out late. With that, Sasuke and Udon headed to their rooms. Hanabi looked at Hinata. Sister, are you hungry? She nodded yes, indicating that she was hungry. I saw a steakhouse not far from here, let's get dinner. Hanabi turned to S. Would you care to join us, Sakura-san? Sure. Sakura responded. Hanabi turned to Naruto and Konohamaru, regretting what she was about to ask. Would you two like to join us as well? Sure. I'm in. Konohamaru said with excitement. I'll pass. Naruto said, heading towards the exit. He looked at Konohamaru. Tell Sasuke I'll catch up with you guys if I'm not here by 5 a.m. Sakura wondered if Naruto was mad at her choosing Sasuke for being team leader or mad at the fact that Sasuke rejected his idea, which in her opinion was not that bad. Nar, where are you going? He looked at Sakura. I'm going to get some information from a friend about the activity of the Cloud and Rain Nins in this country. Sasuke may want to select the best route, but forgot to factor in that we might encounter enemy Nins. Maybe he did factor it all in and just wants to fight. I, however, wish to end this mission as quick as possible without have fight. Anyway, I probably won't be back here tonight, so I'll see you guys later. Before he left, he performed a henge, transforming into a brown-haired man, with brown eyes and civilian clothing. He turned to Hinata. Hinata-chan, I think it would be wise Hanabi were to transform. Being Hyuga main members, you guys might be recognized. Sakura, you and Konohamaru might want to change too. Incognito is the key here. We want to alert any nins, and if they see Hyugas then our cover is as good as blown. Well, I'll see you guys. Naruto headed out of the hotel with his new look, and headed to south of the village. He was heading into Fuma territory. As he was walking, he noticed shurikens flying at him, jumped out of the way to avoid the metallic projectiles. Before he could do anything, he was surrounded by a group of Fuma clan members. The girl with the long orange hair spoke. You are trespassing on Fuma territory, state your business or leave. Naruto smiled at the girl he recognized. I'm surprised that you don't remember me, Sasama-chan, it hasn't been that long for you to forget me. A smoke cloud surrounded the person in front of her. When it cleared, she was smiling from ear to ear. Naruto-kun. She jumped into the arms of the man standing before. When the other Fumas saw that he was no threat, they stood down. She looked up to the man who was taller than her. It's good to see you, Naruto-kun, what brings you to here? Well, I'm here on a mission. I going to Lightning Country. My group just stopped to rest. I have to leave in the morning, but I couldn't pass through here without seeing you. Everything? The blonde shinobi questioned. It's great. Ever since Sound fell 2 years ago, everything has been good. However, this war between the Leaf and the Cloud is making things worse. My grandfather fears that have another ninja war on our hands if Kiri gets involved. So far they've remained neutral, but you never know. Naruto spoke. Yeah, you're right, I hope that there won't be a war, but either way I'm in it now. So, what village are you working for? Sasama questioned. His expression became serious. Konoha, was all that he said. So helping your home village, how noble of you. She said, proud of him. I'm not really helping, it's more like they're paying for my services. Naruto corrected the girl's assumption. Really? How much did her paying you? Let me guess. 10 million Ryu, 20 million Ryu, or what? 90 million. Naruto simply said. Sasama's mouth was hanging open. 10 million was high, 20 million was pushing it, but 90, that was just beyond anything she could conceive. Wow. They must really want you. They probably only paid you that much for what you did in Rain and Rock, since those two are allied with Cloud. So I know you're not here on a social call, so what do you want? Naruto scratched the back of his while smiling. Well, I do wish it was social call. He removed his hand from his head and gave Sasama a steely gaze. However, my mission is a dangerous one. I know you guys keep tabs on all the nins in this area. Care to give me a breakdown on where they patrol and an estimate on how many to expect? Sasama's facial expression became serious. The nins are patrolling the borders between Rice and Lighting. There are a few Cloud, Rain, and Rock nins patrolling about a couple west of here. Some have set up camps about 10 miles north of here. The way they're set up, it seems as if they're expecting Konoha nins. Let's go inside my house so I can give you locations on a map. Sasama led the blonde to her two-story house. They entered the two-story flat, which consisted of a living room that was furnished decently enough, and the kitchen was a regular colored kitchen. Naruto didn't get to see the rest of the house because Sasama offered him a seat on the burgundy couch. Naruto took a seat while the orange-haired girl headed stairs. She came back downstairs about 3 minutes later with a map and a red marker. She laid the map on the coffee table. He came closer when he saw that she was about to give him the location of the enemies. She circled a spot on the northern part of the map. Okay, this is where the camps are. It's just past this pond. She circled an area on the side of the map that indicated west. This area is where they're patrolling. She drew a line from where the camp was located where the patrol area was located. They only patrol west of the campsite. Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. Naruto wondered. It makes perfect sense. Whoever passes by the patrol team will more than likely run into the border patrol teams, which patrols the border of Lightning Country. Naruto, getting Lightning is not going to be easy. Sasama pointed out. Naruto studied the map to find an alternative route. Damn, if only Sasuke would have listened to me, we could have been in Lightning Country already. Now we got to do this way. She shook here. Your task is most certainly not an easy one. I wish there was a way to avoid the border patrol, but I don't think there will be a way to do so. Naruto looked at the map more carefully. He smiled when his eyes landed on the enemy camp. There is a way, but the chance of it being successful all depends on my team's SP. What do you mean by that? She questioned. Naruto began to explain. The border patrol usually patrols a certain area at certain times. It usually takes them about 5 to 10 minutes to come back to an area they tend not to come back because they plant traps that would be hard for the enemy to maneuver through. Avoiding traps should be easy enough. The only question is if I'm fast enough to get past the area undetected. I know that me and the team leader won't have no problems, however I can't account for the others. I don't know, it's a slim ch if it avoids fighting, then it's a good choice. That might be possible. Sasama agreed. Yeah, I just hope my team is working on something better. I really don't want to have to kill enemy nins, that would only alert them of our presence, which would compromise mission. The blonde stated. Naruto rolled up the map then slipped it in the inner lining of his jacket. Well, Sasama, it was really good to see you again. I wish I could stay, but duty calls. Later, Sasama before Naruto got to the door. Naruto, be careful. The rain has not forgot what you did. They won't hesitate to hurt you, so please, be careful. Naruto turned to his friend and gave her a smile of reassurance. Don't worry, I will be fine. Naruto hanged back into the state he was in before he came to the Fuma clan headed back to the hotel. An hour or so had passed since he left his group to seek out Sasama. While walking thought about what Sasama said. I don't only have to worry abo nins, I also have deal with rock nins. They want my head for what I did a year ago and because I look like the yellow flash of Konoha. It doesn't matter, I'm quite sure they're told them to flee on sight after what happened in Rain and Earth Country. But still, someone will try to confront me to make a name. We have to go off the radar for this mission, reputation makes me a liability. Naruto thought to himself. After a few minutes of walking, Naruto found himself back at the hotel. He headed straight for the room the boys were staying at. When he opened the door he found that Ever in the room. All eyes turned to him. Where did you go? I called a team meeting 30 minutes ago. Sasuke stated. Naruto walked up to the group, who surrounded a table with a map on it. He examined the map for a couple of seconds before picking it up and ripped it. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. The others wondered why he destroyed the map. What the hell? It took us nearly 30 minutes trying to figure out the best route that would lead us closer to the target destined. Naruto ignored Sasuke and placed his hand inside his jacket to retrieve the map Sasama gave him. He proceeded to unfold the map. He then laid it across the table so everyone see. I'm sorry Sasuke, but I could bet that you didn't take into account that they have a camp located here. You guys also didn't factor in that in taking the route that you sug would lead us right into border patrol. I know we could take them, but that would result in the failure of our mission. The best plan that I came up with is that we try to slip Paw Patrol when they pass one of their checkpoints. If you don't like my plan, then come up with something better. You have all of the information that you need there. I'm going to wake me when we get ready to head out. Naruto flopped down on the bed in the far right corner of the room. Udon looked at the map carefully looking for flaws. If the enemy camp's patrols were located where this Ma indicated them to be, then Naruto's plan was the only course action. He thought about another option then looked at Naruto. Hey Naruto, you mentioned something about getting lightning on a boat. I think that would be our best option at this point. Naruto sat up to look at Udon. The opportunity has passed. There is only one boat that goes to lightning from the dock I talked about and it leaves at 3 in the afternoon. Every right now is the only option. I did my part so I'll leave it up to you guys to figure it out. Naruto was getting ready to lay down when Sasuke decided to speak. Where did you get this map from? How do we even know that the information on it is even credible? Naruto sat back up looking annoyed by Sasuke's remark. A friend of mine, who is a fellow ninja, lives here in Rice and knows this country pretty well. My friend, who has kept eye on the movements of Cloud, Rain, and Rock Nins in this area, gave me this information. So that is how the information is credible. If you don't think so then don't follow it. Team Sasuke, we will fail and succeed through you, so do whatever you want with it. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at Naruto out of frustration. Naruto saw this and flopped back down to relax all the while smiling in his head. He knew Sasuke might not believe he was required to do right by the team. Naruto had just forced him to follow to his plan without throwing a punch. He just hoped that they could get through the border patrol being detected. He looked up at the ceiling until he fell into a deep slumber. Sasuke and the others were still going over the plan. Udon looked at the map. This is the only option that we have if the map is correct. The boat would have been a good idea isn't an option. Well, I guess we'll go with this. I think we should get some sleep so we can move at the crack of dawn. Sasuke regrettably shook his head in agreement. Hinata, Sakura, Hanabi, and Konohamaru all agreed as well. The girls left the boys and headed to their room to get some sleep. Konohamaru and Udon went to lay on the beds that they picked to sleep on. Sasuke stood by the table still looking at the map. He tried to find flaws in Naruto's plan but couldn't anything. Even if he did, would it matter since his plan is the only option? Sasuke looked at the map one more time before walking over to his bed. He would need all the rest H possibly get. This mission will be one of his toughest yet, that he was sure of. Naruto had awakened to see that Sasuke was already up and dressed. After letting his eyes get adjusted to his surrounding, he then looked around to see that the beds around neatly made. He then turned his head to Sasuke. What time is it? It's 3 in the morning. Everyone is up getting prepared. I suggest you clean up so we can be prepared to move out at 0400 hours. This was the response given by Sasuke. Naruto slowly lifted himself out of the bed. He walked to the bathroom to freshen himself up. Before he walked past Sasuke, who was leaning a wall near the bathroom with arm, the Uchiha spoke, "I'll be in the girls' room. I expect you to be there in 15 minutes so we can go over a few things." Naruto looked at Sasuke and nodded. He then entered the bathroom to freshen up. Sasuke left the room and headed to the room that belonged to the females of the group. Th of the Sharingan entered the room. Sakura, who was sitting on a bed next to Hanabi, looked up. "Oh Sasuke-kun, you're here. All of us are ready to head out whenever you are. Assume that Naruto is getting ready as we speak." He nodded. "Yes, he's freshening up a bit." Sakura, "Where are Hinata, Konohamaru, and Udon?" "They went to get us something to eat at the local tavern." Sakura answered. Sasuke went to lean on a wall next to the window. Hanabi was fixing the gloves on her hand. Her Junin vest was lying neatly on the floor next to her sandals. The Sai placed her headband on her forehead. She then slipped into her black sandals and put on her vest. Sakura was already fully dressed in the standard Junin outfit. Just Sakura got off of the bed to stand up. Hinata, Konohamaru, and Udon walked into the room. "Hello Hanabi-chan." Konohamaru greeted the younger Hyuga. She looked at the boy. "Hello." She returned the greeting emotionlessly. Sakura looked at Hinata, who was standing next to Konohamaru. "So what did you guys get?" "We got some rice balls and some water from a local shop that was surprisingly open at this hour." Hinata responded. Hinata looked around the room, sensing one person missing the group. "Sakura-san, where is Naruto?" Sasuke spoke up. "He should be here any minute." Right on cue, Naruto walked into the room sporting a navy blue jacket and pants with blue sandals. His outfit was an exact copy of almost everyone else's excluding the vest. Wore a black outfit with the Uchiha symbol on the back of his vest. "Good morning everyone," Naruto said, greeting everyone in the room. Everyone, with the exception of Hanabi and Sasuke, returned the greeting. Sasuke walked up to the table was similar to the one in the boys' room. He then laid out the map and ordered everyone to gather around. Sasuke pointed to a marking on the map. "Okay, we're here and we need to go there. According to Naruto's intel, we should run into enemy nins about around here. Getting past really isn't the problem is getting across the border undetected. If I were by myself, then it would be no problem to do so, but there is a group of us and we all va speed. Sakura, Naruto, and I have the speed necessary to get past undetected. You four on the other hand I'm not so sure about, which is why we're leaving in about 45 minutes. I see, you want us to stay under the cover of the night. Even if we don't have the speed, getting across undetected should be easier. The darkness gives us a great advantage," said, understanding Sasuke's intentions. Naruto looked at Hanabi. "That's not the only reason why we have the advantage." She gave Naruto a question look. "Care to elaborate on what you mean by that not being our only advantage?" Sasuke spoke before Naruto could explain. "What I think Naruto means is we're at an advantage because we have two Hyugas, whose Byakugan can see in night as if it were the enemy doesn't have this advantage, but we do, and it will help us get past the border patrol." "That's what you were going to say, right Naruto?" "Yes, something along those lines." "Geez, you didn't have to cut me off, Sasuke-tem," Naruto thought. Sasuke continued to speak. "We're going to use the same formation that we used yesterday. Also, We're going to be stopping in a town about 6 miles east of the ninja outpost W. Infiltrate. We will rest there until about 6:30 p.m., then we will make our move on the base. I want us in and out by 8 p.m. Naruto gave a slight smirk. I have to admit that you have a perfect plan, Sasuke. It seems that you are somewhat familiar with Lightning Country. Sasuke took his eyes off of the map. I've been there once. And you noticed that minor detail by just being there once? Naruto questioned. I try not to overlook anything. A minor detail can be monumental to the success of a mission. Sasuke responded. So true, most shinobi forget that, and it's most often times their downfall. Konohamaru, along with Hanabi, Hinata, and Udon were looking at the two former members of the well-known Team 7. Why do we have to be in and out by 8 p.m. and what is minor detail that you two speak of? Konohamaru asked. Sakura was the one to respond. It's simple, Konohamaru. The sun sets at approximately 7:30 every day in Lightning Country. By the time we have the scroll we have come here it will be hard to track us, because we'll be under the cover of the night. That is what Sasuke and Naruto meant by that minor detail. It's easy to overlook, but it really shouldn't have to say that this is a great plan, Sasuke-kun. Out of the corner of his eye, Naruto looked at Sakura and smirked. I'm impressed that you noticed that detail as well. So, it seems that you have gotten better while I was gone. You two aren't the only ones who were trained by a Sannin. Besides, I've been to Lightning once on a reconnaissance mission. I don't know my way around the country like you do know when to look for advantages. Sakura said, grinning from ear to ear. Hanabi looked at Sasuke. So what is our contingency plan? Konohamaru looked at Hanabi quizzically. Contingency plan? What do you mean by contingency? Browse just in community forum Beta's story search. We use cookies. By using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Accept anime, manga, Naruto, plus she looked at him with annoyance. Are you serious? You are the grandson of the third and you don't know what I mean by contingency. Hinata spoke up while looking at Konohamaru. It means backup plan, Konohamaru-kun. Oh, okay, he said with a better understanding. There isn't one. Naruto's words filled the air so Hanabi could hear. The younger Hyuga spoke in an aggressive manner. What do you mean there isn't one? We need a backup plan in case this one fails. Sasuke turned his attention to the young Hyuga. This is the only option. Our village is at war with the cloud, rain, and rock, so it's safe to assume that their nins are every also. He pointed to Naruto. His presence puts us in even more danger. Everyone turned to Naruto. Sakura was the first to speak. What does he mean by you putting us at even more risk, Naruto? He means that nins from the Rain and Rock village are ordered to kill me on sight. Naruto answered. Hanabi became more curious by this new development. You must have done something for them to want to kill you on sight. What did you do? Naruto got a sad look in his eyes. He closed his eyes to hide his emotions. He spoke in a calm manner. I don't want to talk about it. All you need to know is that they want my Udon spoke up, so, that clears up that mystery. Hanabi looked at the Chunin who wore glasses. What do you mean by that? Udon decided to answer her question. If you guys were to look at the bingo book more often you would see that Naruto is listed as an S-class nin. I believe the exact words W. Wanted for crimes committed in Rain and Earth country. Extremely dangerous, avoid at all costs. Am I right, Sasuke? Yes, Udon, I believe it was along those lines. He looked at Naruto. I could care less why you did what you did. I'm sure you had your reasons, but if I feel that you are a dang everyone else in this mission I will dismiss you. I have a 0 casualty rate for teams that I led and I would like to keep it that way. The Uchiha said. Naruto nodded in understanding. Personally, he didn't want to put everyone in danger, but he knew that he would if he was discovered in Lightning Country. They clearly had the advantage and they would send out a large amount of nins to apprehend him. He wasn't really worrying about himself. He knew he would be alright, but his team was a different. The enemy got a hold of his teammates. They would use them for leverage to get Naruto. His thoughts were interrupted by Hinata. Naruto-kun isn't the only one that put this risk. Hanabi-chan and I also put this mission at risk as well. You're right. It seems that the cloud has been after the secrets of the Byakugan since the beginning. This is a delicate situation, but we are the best of the best. Sakura said to boost the team's morale. Hell yeah, we are! Exclamation mark! Quote. Konohamaru shouted in agreement. Hanabi looked at him, even more annoyed. Although I don't share his enthusiasm, I am inclined to agree. Tsunade-sama wouldn't have selected this group if she didn't believe it's time. Let's go. Sasuke informed his team. The team filed out of the room and sped off to their intended destination. It only took them 2 minutes to reach the forest. They immediately took to trees. It would only take them 20 minutes to reach the enemy camp and another hour or so to reach the border. Sasuke spoke. Hanabi, do you see anything? Yes. About 5 miles ahead there are 16, 17, 18. There are 18 nins ahead of us. There are 8 cloud nins, 7 rain nins, and 3 rock nins to be exact. The young Hyuga answered. The lack of rock nins clearly shows that they are having a hard time with Suna forces. That's most likely why there is a lower number rock nins. The blonde shinobi pointed. Sakura spoke. It would seem that our allies in the sand are doing a good job at keeping rock nins out our territory, as well as others. Hanabi came to a sudden halt that caused everyone to stop. She scanned the area looking for something that might be hidden. When she found what she was looking for, she told Sasuke, it seems that there are numerous traps set up. How shall we proceed, Sasuke-sama? Sasuke thought to himself for a moment. He finally had a solution. Hinata, come here to the front with Hanabi. You two will guide us through these traps. Since the two of you is necessary, it shouldn't be problem. Hanabi and Hinata lead the group. The group surprisingly got past the enemy with ease. In fact, all of them felt that it was too easy, but they knew that the hard part was getting past the border. They had about an hour until they reached the border and time was of the essence. The group was slowly losing their advantage. The sun was set to rise. 1 hour later, the group reached the border of lightning and rice. They stopped to scout the area. Hinata was looking around to see if she saw any more nins. She quickly spotted 11 Cloud G about a mile west of her and 20 more about 3 miles east of her. She knew Hanabi saw what she saw as well. Sasuke-san, there are 11 Cloud Guards a mile west of here and 20 more 3 miles east of here. The nins that are 3 miles east of here aren't the problem. It's the 11 nins west of here. They're moving pretty fast and should be closing in on this location in about 5 minutes. Hinata said, informing her squad leader. We have no choice. Everyone, we move now at top speed. We can't afford to get spotted. The next village is only 4 miles north of here. First to file out will be Udon, followed by Konohamaru, Hinata, Hanabi, Sakura, Naruto, and myself. We move now. Sasuke gave the command, and everyone was gone from their previous spot. The team was moving at top speed. Naruto was looking at the sky. The sun was slowly coming over the horizon, and this was bad. They had a possibility of getting caught if they get to the nearby village soon. Running for approximately 3 minutes, the team had crossed the border and was now officially in lightning. Naruto stopped immediately. This caught attention of Sasuke, who yelled for everyone else to slow down. The team was in the middle of a cornfield of a farm that was not too far from their current destination. Sasuke walked up to Naruto and asked, "Why did you stop? We can't enter a village in lightning without disguising ourselves. I'm sure that there are cloud nins all over this country. Besides, Hinata and Hanabi are holders of the Byakugan walking around as themselves, we are at risk of being exposed. Also, I'm quite sure I'm in their bingo book, so it will be easy to point me out as well." Naruto's right, Sasuke. We can't take that chance, it compromises our mission. Udon stated. Sasuke nodded. You're right, It will be easy to point out those two and yourself. The rest of us don't really need to change, but I recommend that we all change our appearance these henges in the presence of the townspeople. Once we check into the hotel, we will transform back to conserve chakra. We will rent 2 rooms like last time. I expect ever get a decent sleep and to be up no later than 1 p.m. Everyone performed a henge. Sasuke was now a man with long brown hair and blue eyes who wore a black pants and a white shirt. Sakura's hair was now purple, but her IC remained the same. She now wore a red shirt with white pants. Hinata changed her eye color to purple. She now wore a sky blue jacket with a hood and purple capri pants. Ha's shirt was purple along with her pants. She changed her eye color to light brown. Udon only changed his clothes to a blue sweatshirt and gray shorts that fell 2 inches below. The Naruto changed his hair color and eye color to brown. He was now wearing a bright orange shirt with black pants. Konohamaru transformation surprised everyone. They all glare boy who had no idea why they were looking at him like that. What's the matter? Is something on my face? The boy questioned. Hanabi walked up and smacked him in the head. What the hell are you thinking by transforming into a girl who looks like a... Ugh, you're such an idiot. Actually, Konohamaru might be on to something here. This might work in our favor, after all. Naruto said to the young Hyuga. We use cookies. By using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Except, see Hanabi-chan, Naruto Nisan doesn't think my transformation is a bad idea. Konohamaru said proudly. What do you mean, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. She suddenly saw that Naruto had a sinister look in his eyes. The last time I saw that look in his eyes, he painted the Hokage monument the next day. I don't like that look. What are you plans, bro? Konohamaru wondered. Naruto, still with the sinister look in his eyes, smiled at the group. Well, Hinata, I was thinking we could use Konohamaru to get some information, that's all. Sakura and Sasuke gave Naruto suspicious looks. Is he suggesting what I think he's suggesting? Thought the 2 former members of Team 7. Sasuke smirked. I have to say, Naruto, that this is a great idea. What about you, Sakura? Do you agree? It's wrong on so many levels, but since Konohamaru had the bright idea of transforming into a female and dressed like that no less, I'd say he deserves what's in store for him, said with a smirk forming on her face as well. Hinata's eyes widened at to what Naruto was getting at. You can't be serious, Naruto-kun. You wouldn't subject Konohamaru to that, would you? It's not my call, but I don't think Sasuke would disagree with me, would you, Sasuke? Naruto asked the squad captain. No disagreements here, it's actually good for the mission. Sasuke said with his arms folded and his eyes closed while nodding. Why is this idiot transformation into a girl good for the mission? Hanabi asked Sasuke. Because, I don't think you or any of the other girls will want to degrade yourself, and there is no chance in hell that I'm going to do it. Sasuke said. Konohamaru was now nervous. What is it that I have to do? Naruto looked at Konohamaru. Konohamaru, you're going to use the Warok no Jutsu for the purpose it was created. I thought it was made for wait a minute, you can be serious, Naruto Nisan. I refuse to do this. You guys can't make me, there is no chance in hell. Konohamaru said, tone of finality. You're doing this and that's final. If you don't, I will have you doing D-ranked missions for the next 2 years. So I ask you, do you refuse or accept to do this? Sasuke asked the transformed Chunin. I'll do it, Konohamaru said in a low grunt. All right, now that that's settled, let's head into town. The main road is over there. Let's go. The team was now walking through the cornfield to the road that headed to the toe, reached the road in no time and were now on their way to town. The Leaf squad made it to town around 6 in the morning. The sun was finally out and it was shining brightly. The group checked into the hotel and everyone went to sleep. They decided to wake up at 1 p.m. to prepare for the mission that would occur later in the evening. Midday in Konoha, Yumi was walking down the street with Ino. Ino had insisted that she take her out again today since they had a good time yesterday. Yamanaka Ino decided that today would be different. Today would be the day she would get information on Naruto. The only thing she got out of the Yumi yesterday was that he had a frog wallet. Ino decided to invite her and a few others for lunch. The ladies arrived at the local barbecue shack, where they were greeted by a large group. The group consisted of Anko, Kurenai, Guy, Asuma, Tenten, Choji, Rock Lee, and Ebi Ino, followed closely by Yumi, walked up to the group. Hey guys, how's it hanging? Everything is fine. Ino-san, would you and your guest care to join us? Lee offered. Sure. Why not? Ino and Yumi sat with the group. Anko looked at Yumi. So, you're Naruto's friend, Yumi nodded in agreement. Yes, I'm Naruto's girlfriend. Why do you ask? Just curious, that's all. Anko answered. So we meet again, Yumi-san. It is a pleasure as always. The beautiful green beast will voluntarily pay for the meal of your choice. Guy flashed Yumi a smile that caused sweat to everyone's head. Anko nudged Guy. Careful Guy, you wouldn't want Naruto to get jealous now, would you? Don't worry about Naruto, he's not the jealous type. Besides, I don't think Guy-san was hitting on me. Yumi answered. Ino spoke. If he isn't the jealous type, then what type of guy is he? Ino asked, hoping to gain insight on what Naruto was up to for the past 6 years. Yumi thought for a minute before answering Ino's question. Well, I would say that he is loyal, sweet, hardworking, selfless and caring. He sounds wonderful from your description, Yumi. The red-eye Junin stated. Tenten spoke. You also forgot to mention that he is super strong. He even beat Sasuke. Yumi smiled at Tenten. He is strong, but I could care less. To me he's just Naruto. Yumi-san, do you know the location of the lady that gave Naruto his gravity seals? Lee asked. Sorry Lee-san, I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know he had that gravity seal thing until he fought that Sasuke guy. Yumi answered. Lee put his head down in defeat only to have Guy cheer him up. Everyone ignored the two and continued talking. I wondered how Naruto got so strong. Yumi, did he ever tell you where he went when he left the village? Ino asked. Well, he told me he trained with a ninja and that he also trained with a samurai. Why do you want to know? Yumi questioned. Just curious, that's all. He beat our future Hokage. Just wonder about the training that he underwent. I mean, it had to be something if he beat Sasuke-kun. Ino reasoned, not seem suspicious. Well, you'll have to ask Naruto when he gets back from his mission. I'm sure he'll tell you if you ask him, said the brown-haired girl. That's why I asked you, because there is no way that he will tell any of us. Ino thought. Kurenai spoke up once more. I'm curious, Yumi-san, did Naruto ever tell you about his exploits in Rain and Earth Country? Yumi knew the story. Naruto told her what he did and why he did it. She wasn't mad. In fact, she believed it was a noble thing to do. She looked at the Junin. Yes. I know why and I know his reason. However, he will tell you his reason for his actions. I will not tell you why he did what he did, because it is not my place. We use cookies. By using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Except everyone at the table, with the exception of Ebisu, knew what he did. Tenten, Lee, Ino, and Choji, Anko were in the Anbu, so they knew about what happened. Although Ino believed that he was as good as his reputation had warranted. When they went to retrieve him and he placed a kunai at her neck without her detecting him, she knew that the R were true. Tenten now knew for a fact that the rumors were true just by his fight with Sasuke. Kurenai, Asuma, and Guy basically knew about every S-class, A-class, and B-class nin in the bingo book. Even though it wasn't stated in the bingo book, which was odd to them, made it their business to know why he was listed. Those who didn't know what he did knew that he was feared in those countries. However, there were some that were clueless. He did mostly the Chunins and a few Junins, Sakura and Hinata included. Ebisu knew Naruto was feared in those countries but had no idea what he did to be feared. What did he do that caused him to be ranked Class S? You might want to ask the Hokage, that information is restricted. Kakashi stated outside of the window while reading his book. Kurenai eye twitched. How long have you been there, Kakashi? Kakashi folded his book and put it in his pouch. I was here for 5 minutes. But you guys seem to be enjoying yourselves. I didn't want to ruin the moment. Anyway, Ebisu, you don't know this info because it's mostly told to field ninjas who usually take high-risk missions. Field ninjas who take high-risk missions have a high chance of running into high-1 nins. It is only reasonable that they know what they're up against. That explains why Sakura doesn't know. She spends most of her times at the hospital and she rarely goes on missions. Ino stated. Hinata doesn't know either. I wonder if her opinion of him will change when she finds out. Hinata's former sensei thought. It doesn't matter. Everyone who doesn't know will find out soon enough. Anyway, I'm off, I have a mission, you guys have a nice day. Kakashi waved at everyone. He walked to the window. Guy decided to change the subject. Yumi-san, how do you like Konoha? The village is okay. I have received some glares from the villagers, but I guess that's because of Naruto's situation. Yumi replied. I wonder if she's referring to the fox or, because he defeated Sasuke in combat. Guy thought to himself. Yeah, I guess. I mean, when you beat the villages, Precious, Uchiha, you're bound to receive hate. Choji said. Tenten looked at Choji. First Shikamaru, now you too. What do you guys have against Sasuke? Choji's steely gaze focused on Tenten. He's a traitor to this village. You would do good to remember that. He's going to be Hokage. Choji, we all know that a Hokage fights to protect the village and even sacrifice their life if necessary. Ino said in Tenten's defense. He may be Hokage, but to me he will always be traitor. As a leaf nin, it is my duty to follow the orders of the Hokage, but that doesn't mean I have to respect the Hokage. I'm hungry anymore. I think I'll go for a walk. I will see you guys later. Choji placed his money on the table to pay his bill, then walked out of the restaurant. Asuma sighed. He took out a cigarette to smoke. Anko looked at Choji retreating form. I wonder why he and most of the guys that graduated in his year don't like Sasuke. Was it because he was more popular? Lee answered her question. I think it has something to do with the mission to retrieve Sasuke, Anko-san. Most of us were hurt badly trying to retrieve Sasuke. Choji and Neji lost their lives, while Kiba, Akamaru, Shikamaru, and I were badly injured. I don't think that caused them to resent Sasuke. It has to do with Naruto-kun's exile. Most of us felt wrong that Naruto was blamed for the failed mission, but more mad at the fact that Sasuke was welcomed back with open arms. I don't hate anybody. It's not in my youthful nat. What Choji-san says is true. He is a traitor and the village holds him on a pedestal. It's unfair and wrong. Anko shrugged. Whatever, you guys might dislike him, but you will have to listen to him when he's the leader of this village. Lee stood up. You're right. Excuse me everyone, but I have to train. You guys enjoy your meal. Goodbye Yumi-san, I hope we meet again. Lee bowed then walked off. Yumi was thinking about a certain blonde-haired ninja and smiled. Naruto-kun, please come back soon. 1 p.m. Village in lightning, everyone was awake and gathered in the room that belonged to the guys. Sasuke was going over the plan. Okay, remember we're to leave this location at 1800 hours. I want to the ninja outpost no later than 1900. Like I said in Rice, we are to be in and out within an hour. Sasuke looked at Konohamaru and flashed him a smirk. Since you have volunteer services, your job will be to get some info. I'm quite sure that there is a ninja that you can promise a good time and lure back here. Sasuke then turned his attention to Naruto. Naruto, I want you to scout the area by the base. Also take Hanabi with you. I think she could be beneficial to this reconnaissance assignment. Hanabi was about to protest but was cut off by Sasuke. That is final, Hanabi. I don't care if you don't like Naruto, the only thing I care about is if you get the information that I needed. Why can't Hinata go? The girl asked. I want her, Udon, and Sakura to scout the town, was the answer Sasuke had given. Everyone here has an assignment, what do you plan to do? Naruto directed his question at the last Uchiha. Sasuke answered, I'm going to watch over Konohamaru. When he succeeds I will gather info from whatever nin he brings back. But if he is to fail then it's not a big deal. Naruto spoke, I guess not. Hanabi and I are the fail-safe plan. Even if Konohamaru fails, we still will know the area and the ninja outpost pretty well. Okay, everyone let's head out. Everyone headed out and to their intended locations. 20 minutes later near the outpost, Naruto and Hanabi were scouting around the area. Both were looking for around the base. Hanabi studied Naruto for a minute. What Sasuke said earlier about him had her whoa, can I ask you something, Naruto? The blonde looked at the girl, okay, I guess so. What did you do in Earth and Rain Country that was so bad? Asked the Hyuga. Naruto looked at the girl for a second then turned away. I said that I don't want to talk about it so, drop it. Let's finish this mission so we can get back to the hotel. If you WOU please scan the building. Hanabi was mad that he didn't tell her but she complied and scanned the building. She looked at Naruto, there are a total of 30 guards in the tower. There are 20 cloud, 6-4 rock nins. The ninja outpost has 3 floors and the scroll is heavily guarded. Let's go, I will brief you more when I inform the others. Both shinobi blurred out of existence. Konohamaru had convinced a young rock nin to come back with him to his room. He had promised the rock nin a good time. When he and the rock nin entered the room, that was quickly disabled by Sasuke. The rock nin looked at Sasuke then back at Konohamaru. What the hell is going on? The rock nin asked. Konohamaru dropped the henge and changed back to himself. The nin was shocked at what he saw. He turned to Sasuke to see that he had activated the Sharingan. This caused more fear. We use cookies. By using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Accept. You're Uchiha Sasuke, aren't you? The name asked in fear. Yes, and depending on how you answer you might live. Now I want information about the ninja outpost 20 miles from here. If you don't comply on your free will, then I will go with my Sharingan. If it comes to that, I will torture you so bad that you will be begging for me to kill you. So are you going to make this easy or are you going to make this hard? Sasuke said to the Chunin with a smile hoping that he would choose the later. The ninja from rock trembled under Sasuke's eyes. I will tell you everything that I know, just don't kill me. Sakura, Udon, and Hinata entered the room to see that Konohamaru mission was a success. They walked up behind Sasuke, who had the nin on the floor against the wall. A few later Hanabi and Naruto entered into the room. The rock nin caught a glimpse of Naruto and his eye widened. He kept backing up but was blocked by the wall behind him. Naru at the nin and saw the fear in his eyes. Please don't kill me, I will tell you anything, just don't kill me. The nin pleaded. Sasuke looked at Naruto then back at the nin and smiled. It seems you will be useful. You bet what we want to know or I'll sick my friend on you. I will tell you everything, just don't let that monster hurt me. The rock nin pleaded with Sasuke. Sakura glanced at Naruto. What did you do that has this man scared to death, Naruto? I wonder why I wasn't informed of what he did. I guess I will have to question Tsunade about this. Hinata and the rest of the gang were thinking along the same lines as Sakura. Naruto was now pissed at being called a monster. He walked up to the nin and picked him up with hand. His eyes narrowed, causing to get even more scared. What right do you have to call me a monster? I did what I did for a reason and I will not hesitate to do it again if the situation arises. The nin eyes paled at Naruto's comment. You would do it again? Only a monster would feel no remorse for their actions. That may be true, but like I said, I won't hesitate if the situation arises again. Naruto dropped the nin to ground. Sasuke walked back up to the nin to gather answers. Give us info on the base. Sasuke demanded. Okay. There are 3 floors. There are at least 30 nins in the base, varying from cloud, to rock, and to rain nins. The top floor is heavily guarded. There is a scroll, but only the sea and know what's in the scroll. That is all I know. Please don't kill me. They expect me back at the base in another hour, and if I don't turn up, they'll get suspicious. The nin pled Sasuke not to do anything rash. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and the man passed out. What did you do to him? Sakura asked. He will forget what happened here and he will head back to work when he wakes up. We will set up in the other room and go over our strategy there. Hanabi and Naruto will in on their findings while you, Hinata and Udon, will inform us of this town's layout. Sasuke stated. Sasuke placed the guy on the bed and had Sakura take off his clothes to make it look like he and the Konohamaru's henge form had an exciting time together. After Sakura owned him, she and the others went to the other room that they had rented. 6:30 p.m. at near the ninja outpost, the team was near the outpost and ready to make their move. Hanabi and Hinata had their Byakugan activated. Sasuke's Sharingan was activated as well. Sasuke was in the FR group. He signaled for everyone to slow down. After a few minutes had passed, everyone got close to the outpost undetected. Sasuke decided it was time to hand out the wire communication mics. From here on out we're splitting up. Hinata, Sakura and Udon are with Naruto. Hanabi and Konohamaru, you're with me. Naruto, your team will take the west wing while my take the east. Since we know what to expect, we should be out of here soon. My team will go after the scroll, while your team will take out the guards on the first and second flat. Won't move until you confirm that your task is complete. We'll wait here for you to give the signal. Naruto nodded and his team headed out. They entered the outpost with no problem. Naruto used a bind jutsu on the 6 guards that was on that floor. He then ordered Hinata to them with her Jiyuken. After Hinata did as he said, Naruto made shadow clones that replicated the ninjas while he and the others placed the guards' dead bodies in a storage sea nearby. They moved on to the next floor and ran into 9 guards. The same process was done to the guards on this floor that was done to the guards on the first level. Naruto wondered was so easy. He didn't complain, he just made sure that he was on guard. Level 1 and 2 cleared. Naruto said, speaking into the wireless mic. Sasuke and the rest of his team had entered on the east wing. There were 13 more guards that had to be taken care of. Sasuke and Naruto both were thinking the same thing. They used the binding jutsu on the nins. What they didn't expect was 3 nins to be powerful to break free of it. The 3 nins were now looking at the Konoha ninjas that OU numbered them. Well, if it isn't Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto, the Golden Fox, himself. No wonder why my guards can't move. What are the chances of running into 2 of the most feared here? The Cloud Shinobi spoke. You do know that you will die here. You have no chance of winning, so move aside so we can get the scroll and be on our way. Sasuke said flatly. The Cloud Nin narrowed his eyes at Sasuke. Don't underestimate us. It will be your downfall. Sasuke smirked at the nin. Oh, Hanabi, disable the nins caught in the binding jutsu. Hanabi disabled the nin caught in the binding jutsu. The Rock Junin and the Rain Junin glaring at Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, today you will die for what you did. The Rock Nin said. I also have a score to settle with you as well, Uzumaki. The Rain Nin said. Both Junins charged at Naruto, who didn't even prepare a defense. Currently in Konoha, the council had called a meeting concerning Naruto. Homura was the first to speak up. Tsunade, we want to discuss Naruto. We wish to give him missions suited to his capabilities. Tsunade glared at the old man. You want to give him suicide missions, is what you're trying to say. Kaharu looked at the Hokage. I don't think the missions that we plan for him to take will be suicide. Judging by what he did in Rain and Earth Country, these missions shouldn't difficult. Hiyashi spoke. Tsunade-sama, Naruto is more than capable of handling missions that are in enemy territory. We feel he is the best candidate to do so. If you don't wish for him alone, then I will let you assign my eldest child to help him. She may be weak, but she is a Hyuga, and that is more than adequate. Tsunade gave Hiyashi a look of disgust. I will not permit Naruto to take suicide missions. I would not do that to him or any of our ninjas. You are willing to endanger the life of a shinobi, who happens to be your daughter, by having her assigned to dangerous missions. She is a shinobi of the leaf, she knows the risk of being one. Hiyashi answered. What about the Byakugan? Hinata is heir to the main house, but if that falls in enemy hands, it could be disastrous for the leaf. Tsunade questioned Hiyashi. We use cookies. By using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Accept. Don't worry about it. Hinata will become a branch member upon her return. The Byakugan will be safe even if she dies. Hiyashi informed the blonde. Do you think that sending my student into enemy territory is going to kill him off? You idiots are sadly mistaken, a voice was heard in the corner of the council room. Jiraiya, what are you doing here? This is a private meeting. Tsunade informed her former teammate. Jiraiya came out of the shadows. A council who would exile the son of the village's greatest hero as dirt, but he turned to face the Hyuga. A man that is willing to send his D off to her death because she is deemed weak doesn't deserve to call himself a man. You disgust me, Hyuga. Hiyashi eyes narrowed at Jiraiya. If she is strong, then she won't die. The caged seal is being placed on her as a precaution. Besides, the boy is too powerful, and it is only a matter of time before the fox takes control. He should have died years ago. Jiraiya went to punch Hiyashi, but Tsunade appeared in front of him before he could connect. Jiraiya, he is entitled to his opinion. Besides, it's not worth it, Jiraiya. The frog hermit calmed down. Tsuki spoke up. Hiyashi is right, Jiraiya. The kid is becoming too strong. The fox has to attribute for his leaps in power. It's the only explanation, the Uchiha. Jiraiya looked at the lady. Do you really believe that the fox power helped Naruto become stronger than Sasuke? If you believe that, then you're sadly mistaken. Naruto doesn't fox power, he only uses his chakra. Tsunade was present at the fight, she could confirm, along with a large number of the Anbu, and most of your children, that Naruto beat his own chakra. Jiraiya is right. The boy bested Sasuke on his own without the aid of the Kyuubi. Tsunade told the rest of the council. Jin Wei spoke. Then how did the boy get strong in a short amount of time? He has been training under Saichi Kato, Minato Ryaho, and Jiraiya. Under these three his skills would have increased greatly, but the reason why he has increased to Sanin-la because of the gravity seals placed on him by Haoito Naya. There was a collective gasp among the council. Hoedo Tsuki was the first to speak. You mean to tell me that Fusa no Okami gave him gravity seals? Yes, so you see, it doesn't matter, Naruto will continue to get stronger. Tsunade, let Naruto take those missions. I want to see the faces of the council when he exceeds your express. My student will succeed in everything you throw at him. Jiraiya said confidently. I will leave that decision to Naruto. Tsunade stated. Regardless of what you say, Jiraiya, the boy is a monster. Explain what he did in Rain and Earth Country then. Back at the ninja outpost, Sasuke had defeated the Cloud Junin rather easily. It was the same for Naruto. He had easily dispatched the Rock Junin and the Rain Junin. They both were on the ground to get up. I will not let you leave here alive. The Rock Nin said in between breaths. Neither will I. You had no right, no right. The Junin from the Rain said before charging at Naruto. Naruto dodged the punch that was aimed for his head and countered with a punch to the shinobi's gut. The punch caused him to fall at Naruto's feet. Naruto looked down at the shinobi from the Rain. You say I had no right to do what I did. But what gave your nins the right to do what they did? We have a different viewpoint, right, and what's wrong, so in your eyes and in the eyes of many what I did was wrong. I don't care what you think, I did what I did and it cannot be changed. Accept it and dia back in Konoha, right and wrong is in the eye of the beholder. You all may believe what he did was wrong, but if you don't know his reason then you shouldn't judge. Jiraiya stated in his stud defense. Inuzuka Sume looked at Jiraiya, Jiraiya-sama, what his reason for slaughtering a platoon that consisted of 120 rain nin in their own country. Back at the outpost, the group, with the exception of Sasuke, was startled to find out that Naruto had murdered 120 rain nins. They couldn't believe what the rain nin said. This was Naruto that he talking about. Naruto had his eyes focused on the man at his feet. I have my reasons. What was your shinobi reasons for doing what they did? The rock nin saw that Naruto was to focus on the rain nin, now was his chance. When he went to attack, Naruto looked up to see him coming at him. The nin never made contact. Sasuke sent the nin into a wall with kick to the jaw. The rock nin struggled to get to his feet. How can you defend a murder? Not only did he kill 120 rain shinobi, he, back in Konoha, Sume spoke again, he also killed 150 rock nins. Jiraiya-sama. He did this a couple days after he slaughtered the rain nins. What is the justification for that? Outpost. Naruto answered, it was necessary. The nin narrowed his eyes at the ninja who answered with no emotion in his voice. Sasuke looked at the ninja he had kicked. What does it matter? Your comrades are dead and there is nothing you can do to bring them back. Instead of worrying about your FA comrades, you should focus on getting out of here alive, which at the moment is not likely to happen. Udon and Hanabi, get the scroll, we only have 20 minutes to get out. Oh, the two nins followed Sasuke's command and came back out of the room with the scroll. Hanabi used the Byakugan to make sure that the scroll had blueprints to the ninja base in Lightning Country. Seeing that it was, she handed it to Sasuke, who put it in his pouch. The rain nin spoke, my brother was among the ninja that died that day. This guy has taken away someone very precious to me and for that he will die. Sakura and Hinata had tears in their eyes hearing what Naruto did. They couldn't believe the innocent boy had slaughtered close to 300 shinobi in a matter of a week. Looked at Naruto and spoke through the sobs. Whatever happened to your ninja way, Naruto? It isn't like you to slaughter a bunch people because you felt it was necessary. Something Naruto would do, that is something a monster would do. Konoha, Waga Kataki spoke for the first time, any way you slice it, Jiraiya, your pupil is a monster. To do that, because it was necessary, is not justifiable. Jiraiya and Naruto both looked up and said in unison, Naruto, anyone in my shoes would have done the same. Jiraiya, anyone in his shoes would we use cook-vey done the same. I.e., by using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Except Hinata looked at Naruto, Naruto-kun, maybe if you explained why you did what you did, then Sakura-san wouldn't be so judgmental. By not giving reasons it makes you look sea-hearted. Naruto looked at Hinata, the only ones who are cold-hearted are the ones who willingly use a little girl for leverage. Konoha, so you're saying that he slaughtered all of those nins because of a little girl? Tsunade questioned. She knew what Naruto did but never knew the real reason. Unlike the auth knew that Naruto wouldn't do this unless his reason was just. Jiraiya shook his head, not just any little girl. He did it to protect, outpost. My sister. Not my blood sister, but she is someone that I consider a sister. Naruto turned to Sakura and glared, if you must know Haruno, I will never break my ninja way. I am promised to that little girl that I would be there for her always. If I had let her die then I would not have kept my promise. Don't make accusations when you don't know all of it was Leaf Nins that committed the act, then it would be over 300 Leaf Nins dead. To protect her life I would kill anyone who harms hers. Think what you will of me, it really don't matter either way. Naruto stepped over the Rain Nin and walked past Sakura. He stopped, then turned to speak to the Rock and Rain Nins. We're no different, you and I. You willingly attacked me because you lost someone precious to you, and I did what I did, protect my little sister. Our compassion for those we hold in our hearts will drive us to do what we feel is necessary to protect them or their name. I will not kill you here. UW back to your respective villages and tell your cages that the next time they try to use anyone that I hold dear as leverage for an advantage at war, then you will really see a mo. Naruto walked away from the group. Sasuke motioned for Hanabi to knock the guards out, then everyone followed him out of the outpost. It was 8 o'clock and the sun was set. The team was now heading back to Konoha. Sasuke gave Naruto the order to lead them to the docks in Lightning Country. Naruto had informed Sasuke while traveling that they'd be in Rice Country by 11 that night. The only thing was that they had to reach the docks by 9 p.m. The squad headed through the wood to the docks. In Konoha, that is all you need to know. Naruto will tell you if he wants to, it isn't my place. I'm leaving. Oh, and Hyuga. Hiashi looked at Jiraiya. What? Naruto won't die, and he won't let your daughter die if she's his teammate. Even if you place the seal on her, she is still going to live through any missions assigned to her, if not anything to say about it. Hiashi spoke. I don't care what happens to Hinata. A defect isn't welcomed in the Hyuga. Jiraiya shook his head and disappeared. Tsunade looked at the group of members. Naruto will get missions based on his approval. Also, I will assign Hinata as permanent mem team. She looked at the Hyuga head. I'm not doing this because you seek to weed out what you deem as weak in the eyes of the Hyuga. I'm doing this for Hinata. Even if I take the choice out of Naruto's hands, he wouldn't mind me giving him S-class missions. Also, Hinata will become stronger by being with Naruto, the only thing holding her back confidence. You all think that I have submitted to your decisions, but I have not. When it is all said and done, you will see why I have made the decision that I have made. This is adjourned. All of you, get out of my sight. Tsunade had left the meeting and headed to her office. When she got there, Jiraiya was sitting on the couch. She walked up to her desk and rubbed her temples. Wansum, as he walked up and sat in the chair next to her. I thought you would never ask. The docks. 45 minutes later, Naruto and the gang had yet to speak to each other. They arrived at the docks. Naruto had went to talk to the owner of the docks, who happened to be a friend of his. It's be time, Kobun. The short, balding, old man, looked and smiled at Naruto. It's been a long time, my boy, how's it been? Rumor has it that the Golden Fox has sided with the Leaf. That would now, would it? Yes, old man, it is indeed true. More importantly, can you get us on the boat heading to Rice Country tonight? The old man looked at Naruto. No, not without payment, of course. Naruto sighed. He knew he was going to have to pay the old man. Naruto reached inside his jacket. Here, this is Ika Ika Paradise, Make Out Tactics Volume 8. This book has been personally signed by Jiraiya himself. If you can get us on the boat. The old man went to grab the book, but Naruto raised his hand to avoid the man's hand from grabbing the book. Is yours. The old man's eyes illustrated his happiness. Consider it a deal. Just give me that book and head to Port 14. Tell Kukai that I said to let you on, and consider this his way of back. I wish you good luck, Naruto, but I have to go to the to my office to straighten out a few things. Sweat formed on the back of everyone's head. Sakura looked at the old man, walk away, and thought, are all men perverted bastards? Inner Sakura chimed in, if I see Kaka's with that book when I get back, I'm going to kick his Shanaru. Naruto motioned everyone to follow him to the port. Naruto informed the captain of what the old man said. The captain led him on the boat without hesitation. Naruto and the O were sitting in the cargo area of the ship, when Hinata was the first to speak. Naruto-kun, I would like to know more about your sister, if you wish to tell us, that is. Hinata said in a low voice. Naruto looked at Hinata and smiled. Her name is Minashu Hayami and she is 8 years old. Hokage's office. The girl that was kidnapped was Ryaho's daughter. The Hokage asked Jiraiya. Yes, it seems that the rain and the rock combined forces to get the girl. I think their plan was to use the girl so Ryaho could train their soldiers in the heavenly sword style. Answered. Tsunade leant back in her chair, so they had planned on using the girl so her father would train their soldiers. They had planned to attack us all this time. If Naruto didn't step, Ryaho would have trained them. Family means more to him than his style. Even if it was unintentional, Naruto did this village another service. Back on the ship, you trained under a samurai, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Yes, I did. It's part of the reason that I'm good with a sword. Naruto answered proudly. Sasuke was quite the whole time trying to figure out why Naruto would go so far for a little girl. He didn't understand it, he couldn't comprehend why. Sasuke looked up at the bee ninja and simply said, why? Naruto looked at Sasuke. He studied Sasuke to find what Sasuke meant by that question. Naruto understood what Sasuke was asking. Why did I kill all of those men? For 1L I thought I told you at the outpost. She is someone that I hold dear in my heart. If she or anyone that I cared about was in danger, I would do all that I can to protect them. You're still not telling us the other reason, Naruto. We use cook, what is it? Sasuke asked. Wise. By using our services, you acknowledge that you have read and accept our cookies, and privacy policies. Except Naruto looked at the sky and smiled. She's the reason why I'm not a monster. She is the reason I'm not a cold-blooded killer, but most of all, she is the reason why I decided to destroy the leaf. She was my savior. She saved me from my personal hell. The group took it all in. Everyone, with the exception of Sakura, Hinata, and Sasuke, couldn't believe that he had wanted to destroy the Leaf Village. Naruto took his gaze off of and looked at the group. To understand the reason for my actions, I should start from the day I left the village to the time I destroyed those nins. You guys might want to get comfortable, it's a very long story. Everyone inched closer to Naruto, preparing to hear his story. They all looked at him with anticipation in their eyes. Naruto looked at the group and said, it all started on the day I was exiled from the village. Everyone stared at Naruto, who began to speak. It all started the day that I left the village. I felt no matter how hard I tried to get the villagers to acknowledge me, they never, so I decided to head to Wave Country. Flashback. Naruto was walking in the forest. He was mumbling to himself as he walked. Stupid village, I don't know why I ever tried. It doesn't matter.